Well, hello everyone and welcome to Bare Metal Gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Tim, joined here by my co-host, my favorite person in the whole world, my bestest friend, Andrew.
You're lovely, you said there. I heard that, and I heard that
Yeah.
come out.
I have a t-shirt of it.
Yeah.
It says, it's my lovely, and then it's arrow pointing to you.
Oh, shit. Gonna have to make some phone calls about that. Listen, yeah,
Like
thanks.
To the police, or?
Yeah, that's where I was going with that, yeah. We talked about this.
The restraining order says 100 feet.
Yeah.
101, I'm free to oogle.
So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, hey, everybody, I'm Andrew. You know me on YouTube? Probably not.
You may know me from such YouTube videos as...
Yeah. You might remember me from... No, I should actually go. You might not remember me from such YouTube videos as My Favorite Games and Uno Plays.
I enjoy the Uno Plays series. If we get anything out of this, I hope that more people go and watch you wax nostalgic about your favorite games for various systems.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I very much enjoy those. I will happily suck up to my co-host.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No need for that. I mean, keep it coming. But
Okay.
yeah, no, thank you. Do you you don't have any like YouTube stuffs that you're doing though?
I don't.
Okay.
I mean, my thing is, I don't know. I could pimp my comic book stuff, but nobody, eventually
Why not?
people will care about that. Well, because I don't have anything. I don't have anything I can talk about right now.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But I will just say that I follow you on Twitter, and I like some of what I've seen coming out of your Twitter feed.
Some of what you've seen. You're like, some of your stuff's okay.
I sound like an asshole now that you put it that way. That's not how I meant it. Shit.
It's not all garbage.
Yeah. Listen. Some of it's not terrible.
That's my favorite like side-handed compliment ever. It's like, well, it's not awful.
Oh, now I feel like an asshole. Can we just start this over? God damn it.
No. We have to push forward. So we should let everyone know this is the first episode. You and I have podcasted forever on our own. We have never podcasted together.
Right.
Other than like an aborted, crazy, stupid idea I had, which has morphed into this show.
Yeah. And you've got probably a few years experience over me. I started podcasting in I think it was 2008. Me and my buddy Nick did a show called the Movecast, and it's still kind of going.
No, you gotta say it right. It's the Movecast. It's not that at all. Don't do that.
No. Nobody has ever called it that.
Nobody.
No, but we still kind of record sometimes. But we used to be on like a weekly schedule we had a good run for some like a handful of years, and then it just kind of fell off, and I guess we got busy for a while, and now I'm ready to. I've been wanting to kind of like do something like this, and you threw it out to me, and I was like, hell yeah. Especially, another veteran, like, more so than me. How long have you been doing this?
Podcasting veteran, not military veteran. We should.
Oh, right.
clarify.
Yeah. Stolen valor here.
Oh God, I started in the first podcast I started the podcast called The Widget Show. That was in June of 2005.
Yeah. Wow.
And that got picked up by we became a PC Gamer affiliate podcast in December of that year. So if you go to iTunes and look up The Widget, Games Tech and whatever, we're still listed as a PC Gamer podcast, even though that has not been the case in a very long time.
Oh wow! You're not doing episodes of The Widget anymore, right?
No, we put that to bed officially. Like, we put that to bed. It's done.
Sure.
God, I want to say it was like February of 2014.
Okay.
So the original show went for a year, and then that stopped, and then I did a whole slew of podcasts with other people and everything else, and then we started it up again. I think in 2008. Yeah, 2008, and then it went until 2014. So quite a while.
Oh yeah, that's a good stretch.
That in addition to all the other podcasts I used to do. But yeah, so anyway, the point of this podcast is we're going to talk about games.
Yeah.
And to kind of, for anybody who's wondering about the name, we're referencing like, bare metal gaming way back in the olden days, my particular favorite era of gaming. I don't want to call it retro gaming, right? Because to me, it's not retro gaming. I'm not rediscovering shit. Like
Right.
I've always
Right.
played these games, Um, and so it's a programming term, like writing to the bare metal, writing an assembly language and things like that. So it's just kind of like it's always kind of it's considered like the most hardcore, the best way to get performance out of hardware. It's still a term that's used these days,
Hmm.
especially in the era of you hear a lot of people talking about Vulkan and things like that for the for graphics on the PC side of things these days. And Vulkan is very much an idea, getting back to the idea of writing to the bare metal, so
Sure.
get the best performance possible. So this is going to be a podcast about video games, and we're going to talk about some of the news that has happened during the week. We're going to talk about just things that we're interested in, things that we've been up to.
Yeah.
Pretty typical stuff, but it's from us, which makes it better than anything anyone else is doing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think, we both listen to a lot of podcasts too. So, I don't know. I see so many like different takes on what people want from podcasts. It's impossible to know how to, try to please everybody. So I'm gonna do, I think we are gonna do what appeals to us. And,
Yeah,
either you dig
exactly.
it or you don't. Hey, if you dig it, stick around, keep listening. Awesome, cool. Be part of our community and interact with us. But if it's not what you're looking for, no hard feelings.
Or don't, and we don't care, and we hope you die in a fire.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, shithead.
Yeah, that's right. So okay, so you should what do you want to talk about first? What do you want to talk about? What have you been up to this week? What have you been playing? What have you been playing game wise?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I don't know. I don't think you're much of a Dark Souls fan, right?
I am not much of a Dark Souls fan.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll keep this interesting for you as a non-fan, and hopefully to any listeners who are non-fans. But Dark Souls Remastered came out last week, I think, and I had really mixed feelings about getting it because I've got a long history with the Souls series. I started with Demon Souls on PlayStation 3 way back when that came out, and like hardly anybody knew what that game was. Me and my friends were the people that were out there telling everybody about it,
A
right?
lot of people don't realize this.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't mean listen, man, I didn't mean to do one of those. I knew it
Actually,
before it was cool, before there were memes all over the place. I was a fan first. No, I'm sorry, forgive me. I'm trying to communicate like how long I've been with the series, right? Uh
I've been with the series since Kingsfield. That's
yeah,
when I started.
right, right. Demon
Ah,
Souls ain't shit.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so I like Demon Souls a lot. Thought it was tough as nails, but I really liked it.
Wait,
Um,
wait, 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 wait. Demon Souls is hard. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I didn't know these games are hard.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, I cheated my way basically through Demon Souls to get to the end of that fucking thing. The final boss, he was such a pain in the ass. Basically, like you level up in the game and like getting a level is I don't know, kind of a moment, right? Like granted you'll be like a level 70 or 80 or something by the time you get to the last boss, probably. Maybe some people will be higher, I don't know, but listen, that's about where I think I was. But the fucking last boss has an attack where he picks you up off the ground and he'll steal levels from you. And you don't get them back. They're
Like
fucking
he'll steal
gone.
levels.
So,
Like you're level 30 and I'm going to steal levels and now you're weaker and there's nothing you can do about it.
right. And you die probably, and you come back for the next attempt lesser than you were when you just fucking lost, right?
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it is balls hard, man. And so I cheated to beat. Well, it wasn't really cheating, but it was cheesing him. You know what I mean? It's like the
Yeah.
equivalent of like doing
Yeah.
Hadoukens endlessly until you fucking win your Street Fighter match. It's
That's
basically that.
it's not are you not supposed to do that?
Right. That's the best way to win, I thought.
That's how I won Evo
Right, right. Yeah. Daigo went down and
in my house. I had
yeah.
Evo against my cat.
Sweet. Oh, I
Yeah.
bet he got owned.
It's a she cuz girl cats play games too.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. You're right.
Fucking
It's
misogynist.
2018. It's 2018. My bad. But anyway, moving on. I get into my point here. So remastered, or rather, Dark Souls 1 came out, and back when it came out in what 2011, I think it was. I didn't like it. I had a lot of beefs with it. A lot of complaints about like some of the level design and the bosses, and um, I struggled with it. I got all the way through it to the end, but like I didn't like it nearly as much as Demon Souls. Anyway, Dark Souls 2 came out, and my buddy Nick talked me into buying that. He's like, "It's really good. You should check it out. Even though you didn't like Dark Souls 1, check this out." It's like, "Okay, great." Love Dark Souls 2. Totally fell in love with that game. I've played it so many times. I know a lot of those areas by heart. Dark Souls 3 came out, really like that too, right? So I've got a good history here. But when they said Dark Souls Remastered was coming, I was like, I didn't like that first game. I don't know if I'm going to pick this up or not. But I did anyway. I kind of got like I fell into the hype a little bit because people were excited about it, and other people on other shows talking about it. Like, yeah, okay, I want to be a part of that. So picked it up. You got double the frame rate right off the bat than what you had on the PS3 version. So we're holding 60 frames per second, which makes a big difference in that game because in the original game, there were areas where you drop down to like 12, 15 frames per second.
I bought it on the PC. I don't know what you're talking about. It's always
yeah, you had it worse than anybody then if you got it on PC.
I bought it actually. Yeah. Well, we'll get into my history with the series in a minute.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But long story short, man, I've been really, really liking Dark Souls Remastered, and I think it's because now I've got if you count my first time through it, I've got 4 of these Souls games, and I guess Bloodborne, if you want to count that too as one of those. I've got like 5 of those games under my belt now, so I'm way more experienced, right? I kind of know what I'm getting into. I know more about like how the mechanics and stuff work, and plus the added performance, right? Getting the double the frame rate and everything looks sharper and stuff too, right? I think now I'm in a place where I really, really, really am liking the hell out of that game. I've been having so much fun with it.
I'm sorry, the way you phrase that. Now I'm in a place where things are going good. Like, I got a steady job.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 3 is,
That's behind me now. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying there. But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm having a great time with it. And
are you McDonald's loving it?
Yeah, I totally am. I don't think I was wrong with how I felt about the game before. I just feel like I've got enough history with the series now, and everything that I said a minute ago, basically, again, where it just works for me now in a way where I look back on how I played it the first time, and I definitely remember approaches that probably speak to me not really understanding it as well as I do now.
Yeah. I had my friend Dave was really into the original Dark Souls. He's the reason I bought it in the PC because he's just incessantly talking about it nonstop and how amazing it is and how it's the greatest game ever made and we're fools for not buying it and playing it.
Okay.
So I bought it in the PC and yeah, as a legendary bad port on the PC. It was plagued with issues. Fan patches fixed a lot of them pretty quickly. But even then, like I picked it up and, again, to kind of, put a frame around my passions when it comes to modern, gaming these days is, it's just not my kind of game. I'm not saying It's a bad game. I'm not like, it sucked. It's just not, it just wasn't for me. And I knew right away this wasn't for me.
Yeah. Yeah, hey man, I don't play the Civilization games, but I know people love those, and you don't see me going like that shit sucks. Like it's not my thing, Yeah,
it's just not your game. It's like not every movie's meant for you either. Hope Floats is a great film depending on who you are.
Sure. Yeah, so is so are a lot of movies. I was getting that's a whole other can of worms. Don't get me talking about movies.
We can talk about movies. It's bare metal gaming. It's bare metal gaming. Yeah. But we can talk about, we just talk about bare metal. We talk about bare asses. We can talk about whatever you want, man.
Yeah, I get you. I think there'll probably be plenty of that on the show at some point. Can't always be talking about
bare asses
stuff on our game podcast, can we?
Yeah. No.
Can we do that?
We can. It would be really weird.
I think there's a law that says that.
We'd be the only podcast, the only video game podcast in history to speak exclusively about games.
No shit. We sure would. I think there's like a law that if you have one of these podcasts, you have to spend the first 15 to 20 minutes actively not talking about fucking video games so that if somebody wants to hear you talk about one game in particular, you're just putting it off that much longer.
Right. It's like when you go to the office. You spend probably the first 30 minutes not doing any real work.
Right, right.
It's mostly
Totally.
bullshitting, drinking coffee,
Looking on your
you know,
phone.
touching yourself. Normal work things,
Right. Hoping nobody notices you touching yourself.
or maybe hoping someone does, depending on
the,
what your
right,
end game
the
is.
right person. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Anyway,
I'm
right.
getting
So Dark
fired.
Souls Remastered. What system did you get it on?
I got it for PS4 Pro because
Okay, because you're a
I
pro.
have Dark Souls 2 and 3 on that same system, so
Right on.
I wanted to have all three, blue boxes lined up in a row on my shelf so I could look at them and smile and, touch myself and hope nobody
You can
notices.
look at it and go like, "Oh, now I can truly be feared."
Yeah. Now I'm a real gamer.
Yeah. I'm going to make a YouTube channel and put this behind me so that everyone can bask in my glory.
Oh,
Look
I
how much
know.
stuff I've bought.
I know everybody does that. And I don't know if you just want to talk about shit, I guess, does it even matter what's behind you? Like, I've kind of thought about maybe getting in front of the camera for my channel, but I kind of just, I don't know, man. I'm not looking to like put myself out
Then you
there.
watched it back, and it was just like that scene in Silence of the Lambs. You were like tucking it back, and
Actually, when I sat down, it was that thing where your pants fold the right way, and it just looks like you've got a massive rager the whole time. And I just, oh
tenting,
my god,
tenting.
yeah,
That is
tenting, yeah.
yeah. Well, some pro tips. Number one, stop wearing pleated pants. It's not the 1980s. Two, try to not have a raging erection all the time.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, like I said, I look at those three Dark Souls games lined up in a
It's
row,
just
and I just happen.
okay. So that's cool though. So yeah, I mean, you got your Dark Souls remaster. Except, I mean, it came out for Switch as well. I mean, it came out for everything. Well, everything.
It's actually not out on Switch yet. It got delayed, and I was
Okay.
considering buying the Switch version instead, honestly, just because I kind of dig on having the portability as an option.
Yeah, and then you
Um,
realize like the term remastered in the title and running at 720p is at odds with each other.
yeah, definitely. But also the delay, I've seen people make that argument on various, message boards and stuff like, oh, it'll be worth waiting for the portability. I'm like, yeah, but they still don't have a date for it. You have no idea when it's coming. And as far as like the community is concerned, like there's never a better time to play that shit than like right now. And the biggest community is going to be PS4.
Yeah, because I mean, a big part of it's online, right? Like, is that
Yeah,
right?
to an extent. Like, I don't give a shit about the PvP, like fighting other players online. I could not care less about it because like everybody knows something I don't when it comes to that shit. Or I'm always getting stabbed in the back when it looks to me like the guy isn't actually even behind me yet. Or like some guy is way fucking past my level, or he's accessed some gear that I'd like is end game gear for me, but he somehow has it in the first quarter of the game. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. So I actively avoid the PvP, but I love the co-op in the game. And nothing makes me happier than like going into a boss with like three other co-op partners, and it feels like it feels like a real D&D party rolling in together to whoop some ass. You got your guy who's good
Right,
at
right.
spells, you got your dude who's got like the heavy weapons and shit. Yeah, it's like four specialists going in on something to fight the dragon. It's cool. So
Is it cool? It's real cool.
it's hella cool.
Hella cool. Well,
Yeah.
there's a dated reference. Good job, Tim. Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you're having fun with that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have also been playing something I think we've both been playing.
Was that?
A little Bloodstained Curse of the Moon.
Yeah, so I have to get it installed on my Xbone. I grabbed the Steam code, the temporary Steam code.
Yeah.
And checked it out a little bit. It was very fun. I had fun with it. I didn't get to spend much time with it. I got through the first level. But man, proper Castlevania homage, to be sure.
Yeah, you told me that it is just like Castlevania 3, and after you told me that, I started hearing that all over the place.
Well, that's
And
because I'm the fucking man and I know things.
yeah. But I had no idea because I didn't play Castlevania 3. I played Castlevania 1 and way more of Castlevania 2 back in the day. And then like I took a break from that series all the way until Symphony of the Night.
Well, so here's the fun thing about that game. Yeah. Well, actually, Well, no, really though. When
Not
I
many
say it's like,
people know this, but
yeah. When I say it's like Castlevania, a lot of what I'm referring to is, or Castlevania 3, is having the multiple selectable characters, right?
Mhm.
So being able to change characters for the best situation, but also you've got a bit of branching pathways happening. Because Castlevania 3 had that as well, and depending on which way you went, depended on who you met. Like, did you meet Silpha, I think her name was, or did you meet Grant? But the way that they're doing it in Bloodstained, and this is Curse of the Moon, right?
yes,
Yeah, that's the okay.
versus Ritual of the Night.
Ritual
is
of the Night.
main
Is it Ritual of the Night or Ritual something? Curse of the Moon.
Ritual of the Night, and you can remember this because Symphony of the Night is Sodden, right? SOTN, and
there
Ritual
you go.
of the Night, Ronin. So
Gotcha. So the way they're doing in this has a lot more in common with Rondo of Blood, the PC Engine game, Castlevania game.
Mm-hmm.
That you had multiple pathways through a single stage, not just you finish the stage and then you take a different path, which led you to a whole different stage. Like you're actually making those choices in the stage itself.
Yeah.
So it's a cool throwback in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously, some context is missed on my end by not having played Castlevania 3, but
or Rondo of Blood, which is sad.
Well,
the best Castlevania game. Okay. I was gonna say that is the best Castlevania game ever made.
I disagree.
I will fight someone.
It'll be the bare knuckle podcast in a little bit here.
Ooh.
But yeah, no, I went
podcast.
I went back and played Rondo of Blood years later after Symphony of the Night, and also same thing with Super Castlevania on the Super Nintendo, but just never got around to playing Castlevania 3. So
see, I didn't have a Super Nintendo right when they came out. I didn't actually get one until now. How's this for like how? I'm seriously, this is gonna make me sound like I'm trying to like bluster and show off my e-penis. But I did not get a Super Nintendo until here's the games that made me buy a Super Nintendo finally. Because again, I was like 16 years old when I bought it.
Okay.
It was the Killer Instinct port and Earthbound. Both came out around I got both of those around the same time.
Yeah.
I bought Earthbound. I bought it. I when it came out.
Sure. You're one of the few, apparently.
Yeah. No, I had the big scratch and sniff book. I had the giant box. I mean, it was a wonderful game. I played the hell out of it. All my friends thought it was just dumb because of how babby it looked.
Yeah.
But, that's a well documented complaint.
I didn't know anybody who played that back in the day. Like I would always hear you'd see like endless people talking about Earthbound this, Earthbound that online, right? And like shit, for as popular as you would think that game is with its rabid fan base that never shuts up about it, like I didn't know anybody who played that.
Right. It wouldn't have been a flop if many people claimed to have played it back then actually did. Because I feel the same way about the Sega Saturn. Like nowadays you've got like, oh, I love the Saturn. It's like, motherfucker, if you had bought it when it came out, it wouldn't have failed. Which left people like me alone and angry in 1998 when I had to begrudgingly buy like, oh, Die Hard Arcade. That is the greatest game ever. It's the only game that came out in the last 6 months. I guess I'll buy it.
Hey, that is a good game though.
It actually is a really fantastic game. It's a terrible example. Well, Magic Knight Rayearth. Like I bought Magic Knight Rayearth when it came out for the Saturn because I was like, well, I don't know. It's a working designs game. It's pretty great. I actually didn't like it, even though it's now one of the most valuable games in my collection. It was the last domestically released Saturn game. So you know what really again, this is just anecdotal stuff just because like I do have a ridiculously I made this joke to my wife the other day that like my video game collection is getting incredibly valuable because of the rarity, like the types of titles I have. And I'm just like, did I just have really good fucking taste like back then? Like, cause I'm like, I pre-ordered Einhander. Like I have my copy still, like all of these games that are super like sought after now. But anyway, no, back to the Saturn thing. I had to choose between two games when I bought Magic Knight Rayearth. I had to choose between Magic Knight Rayearth or Panzer Dragoon Saga. And I had played Saga, and I didn't buy Saga. I was like, well, I'll get this Magic Knight Rayearth game. see what
Yeah.
that's all about. And then a friend of mine who also the only other person I knew that owned a Saturn, he bought Panzer Dragoon Saga, and I ended up playing it over at his house, and I didn't like it. I was very much like, oh, this isn't like Panzer Dragoon. It's a role playing game. This sucks. So I never did end up buying Panzer Dragoon Saga. It's a fun anecdote.
Just thinking like, I don't like. I mean, I know you have access to it now, so like, do you care to own it? Like, if it
No,
weren't
I don't care.
ridiculous,
I don't care. I still don't. I still don't like the game.
Yeah,
And
okay, then
I'm
you're
not saying it's a
fine. Then who
bad game.
cares?
I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't give a crap.
Man, okay, like we are getting way off the rails here, but
That's fine.
You've got me headed down this path, so I'm gonna go with it. What you just touched on there, like you don't give a shit that you don't own it because you still don't like the game. Like I think that there are a lot of people out there just buying shit up.
Oh yeah.
because
Oh
it's, you
man.
know,
Okay. It's I don't know, man. Like shelf collecting. That's what it is.
yeah.
We talked. We joked about it at the beginning of the show, but that's really what it is.
Mhm.
They want to buy something and put it on a shelf.
Yeah.
And it's about being able to say you have it on your shelf. It's not about like I'm buying this to play it. Right.
Right.
I mean, you see that the most. Like, okay, so I mean, I still have all of my original Saturn games that I've had since the '90s,
Mhm.
and you know, I've moved around a lot. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
I don't have cases for a lot of my games. For my Saturn games or my Dreamcast games, I don't really have the cases anymore. Because you know, moving around, like it was one of those things. Like back in the early 2000s when I started moving around, it was like, why the hell do I need the cases? Like these games aren't going to be worth anything. I just want to play the games. Like how
Sure.
did I know?
Sure. I did that with all my music when we moved out here.
Oh, that was a smarter play.
Yeah.
That was a better play than what I did because I kept all my CD cases because I'm an idiot. Anyway, so oh, my life's so sad. No, yeah, I mean so so I have all my center games, but what I've done is I've gone back and be like, all right, so like when like I had like a specific Saturn games, I'm like, all right, I want to get the games in cases and you know, so like just really specific games before I just cut it because you know by the time you get to like 1998, I was buying Saturn games by the pound because
Sure.
nobody wanted them.
Right.
So I'm like, I just want to get cases for like a certain number of games, and I added them all up, and it's like 13 games. I'm like, and some of them aren't even that rare, but they're the games I loved, right? Like Gex for the Saturn. Like I own the far superior 3DO version now, complete in box. But I'm like, I really played the hell out of that. Like Tomb Raider for the Saturn, Nights into Dreams, right? And you know, I started buying these games again, like the full. I wanted to complete in box copies, and I started buying them in like 2008 or so, and they were nothing. Like I have a still sealed in the box, never been opened at all. Nights into Dreams with the 3D controller, right? I bought that at a small mom and pop game shop for $10 back in 2008.
Oh yeah, they couldn't give that shit away back
Yeah,
then.
like they were stacked up like a mile high. And that's how I got a lot of my games. But like just in the last few months, I'll go like, oh yeah, I never did buy Daytona USA complete in box. Like I've got it like 10 copies of the disc around that I can play backups and all that stuff. I'm like,
Yeah, sure.
I should spend $1 next time I'm at Midwest Gaming Classic and pick it up, dude. It's like $20 now.
Yeah.
And it's because like the people are they're just a lot of retro collectors. They're just moving through the systems, right? Like it
Yeah.
started with like the Nintendo, and then like it became like I'm gonna get a Nintendo collection, and then Super Nintendo, and then Genesis, and then it, you know, and right now, like we were talking about it, the Jaguar is out of control price wise.
Yeah. Oh, it's stupid.
Like I didn't get a Jaguar until 2007, and I bought it off a friend of mine that was a Jaguar collector. I mean collector. He had everything in the box. He had the CD unit. He had multiple consoles. Complete. He had one that was sealed,
Oh,
and
wow.
I bought an old Jaguar off him for I think you know what like $10.
Sure.
And he threw in a copy of Alien versus Predator with the manual, a boxed copy of Tempest 2000, and like a couple of other crappy games. And then later on, I think I was like, oh hey, do you like how much for that copy of Rayman? He's like, $5. I'm like, all right, cool. That's a fair price. I'll pay $5 for that. And now it's insane. It's absolutely nuts. Like Jaguars, people are getting They're not just because it's easy to look at eBay and go like, whoa, the Jaguars are selling for $375. Well, no, that's what someone's asking. What
Right.
they're getting is far different. But people are getting $250 for a
Yeah.
Jaguar system.
Yeah.
And
It's,
I mean,
it's wild.
that's like, dude, that's PC Engine like super graphics money.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Yeah.
Neo Geo money. That's not Jaguar money.
No, no,
What-
no.
It's like, and it's like, what's driving it? Because as a Jaguar owner, I can tell you, once you get past Tempest, Alien versus Predator, Doom, Wolfenstein, you're pretty well out of games at that point.
I disagree. There's a few more on there.
There are a few more, but what I'm saying, like what's driving this? Are you just,
Right.
are you like, oh my God, I got a Jaguar. I can't wait to play Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy.
Right.
Well, I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you. Yeah, I don't know. It's people just like they're shelf collecting. They want to get it. They want to put it in a shelf and say, I own that. I'm going to start a YouTube channel and have all these things behind me so people know how serious I am about my video games.
I think there's a race too on YouTube to sort of like, be some sort of like, it's like video game consoles are the old west. Like they can't be anymore because everybody's fucking played everything now, right? But
Yeah.
like the Jaguar stuff, I feel like that's happened just in like the time that I've known you, right? Like the last few years or so.
Oh yeah, that's picked up big time because like the
Yeah.
Saturn, like prices for the Saturn, like stuff tripled in value in the space of like a 2-year period, and because that's when I sold my copy of Saturn Bomberman. I had a complete in-box copy of Saturn Bomberman, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I really love this game. If I sell this, I'm not losing the ability to play it because I play backups or whatever
Yeah.
else. I'm like, do I want this thing collecting dust or do I want $400 in my wallet? I'm like, I'll take the $400.
Yeah, totally.
So I sold it, and you know what I did with it? I bought a Neo Geo flash card.
Oh yeah,
right?
that was a good investment there.
Yeah, because like Neo Geo is my midlife crisis. Like that's the system I wanted to own when I was a kid. No way in hell could have afforded it. Now
Yeah.
I'm older. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy some Neo Geo games. I'm gonna build a Neo Geo and I'm gonna buy games. And that flash card, boom, solved it. Because there were Neo Geo games that I loved that I was never gonna be able to afford.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But you know, it's funny. The problem of it. So it's one. I do believe that we are in a video game speculation market, right? And because all the signs are there. You go back to the 1980s, and you had the sports card market exploding because of nostalgia, and you had these people wanting to reconnect with their childhood and buying baseball cards. Oh, baseball card collecting. Oh, it's the coolest thing. People are like buying like Mickey Mantle rookie cards, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna be a millionaire and retire someday.
Yeah.
And then you get into the 90s, you know, and the same thing was happening with comic books, where it was like people had nostalgia for the stuff from like the golden age of
Right.
comic books. So they were buying like Superman, like old issues of Superman, old issues of Batman, and the new stuff was coming out, and people are buying them by the box. I'm like, I'm gonna buy this copy of Youngblood #1, and I'm gonna retire someday because
Yeah.
of this comic.
This hollow foil covered X-Men is, that just came out, is going to be worth something someday. So I bought 5.
Me and the other 3 million people that bought this issue, we're all going to be millionaires. You know, and I think a lot of what we're seeing a lot of that happen with the video game stuff
Yeah.
right now.
Totally.
Because a lot of people are like, it's not a bubble. It's not a bubble. I'm like, well, it's easy to say that when you're in the bubble, but
Right.
you know, and I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying it's like it's going to be short lived because the comics boom, the comic speculation bubble, and this is a topic near and dear to my heart. You know, that went from like 1988. I would say like 1988 up until probably 1996 or 7, right? Because that was around the time Marvel. Because people don't remember, Marvel Comics went bankrupt in
Yeah.
97. A lot of people don't know this, but yeah, yeah. So that was, I mean, that was a pretty good stretch of time. The video game craze didn't really kick off until I would say like 2011, 2012 or so. Is when it really started picking up steam. And it's
Yeah.
2018 right now as we speak. So I mean, really, we're only about 6 years into this.
Sure.
You know, I really do think it's going to burst someday.
Yeah, totally.
And on that day, I will be scooping up cheap games like no tomorrow.
Yeah, it's I'm of two minds about it. Like the whole retro thing, yeah, I there's so much retro shit coming out now that harkens back to that stuff, like the game that kicked off this whole discussion, Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon.
Yeah.
And it does that really well. And you've got your other things out there like your Shovel Knight games and that kind of stuff, right? That definitely nail the retro feel, and it's something that
Well, Shovel Knight was an early entry into that, and a very early success story in the whole retro new.
Sure, but my point is just that like it exists now, and if you want to go play retro shit, you can, try to track down an expensive cart and, maybe you're an old NES system so that you can say I've got the authentic shit and I'm playing some retro game that I have no real connection to. Or you can just like spend $15 on on Shovel Knight, which you have equal connection to. And
Right.
that game has learned from all the mistakes of years and years of retro, of game development from when that era was actually happening, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just mean, eventually how many fucking people can do YouTube channels on old shit and, have it still be like, I say this as a guy who's doing it myself, right? Like,
But
the irony's not lost on me. Like, I know that's what I'm doing, but
you touch on an interesting point, right? You're coming at it from a place of true nostalgia.
Sure.
Like you actually, you're coming at it from like, I enjoy these games. I have memories around these games. And that's why I like your YouTube channel. Like, I'm not being a jerk. Like, I genuinely enjoy, you're my friend, but I do genuinely enjoy watching your videos because you reminisce, because you have like real memories and then like life stories around these video games for you. And that's what makes it cool. What's weird to me is you've got a lot of people, excuse me, you got a lot of people that they don't really have, they have nostalgia they've adopted. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, this game was it came out in 1987. I wasn't born yet, but
Right.
and it's like, okay, well, I mean, cool, have fun with the game, but you're reminiscing about something that you've read about on Wikipedia.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's like when you're in when I was in high school and there was like the kid who was the world's biggest Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd fan or something like that, and it's just like, dude, you weren't alive.
Right. That's not your band. Like, it's
Right.
cool to be. It's cool to be in them. And again, I'm old. I don't have. I'm not definitely not doing the whole like you posers. Not
Right.
that at all. It's
Right.
just. I think this is a sign that I think all of this is a sign that yes, this is a bubble. Yes, this is a speculation market. Yes, like it's going to end at some point, and that's okay. It's supposed to. That's the point of popular culture. Right now, retro is in the zeitgeist. It's part of the popular culture. It's and a lot of it is there's so many normies that I meet now. Like a person. I was a coworker was like, oh, I was at a flea market and I saw a Super Nintendo, so I bought it, and I've been buying up old games because I want to replay them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were telling me how they just spent like $50 for a copy of like Donkey Kong Country or something insane. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's wild.
And then I introduced them to flashcards, and they were like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest thing,"
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is mainstream right now, and you've got a lot of people that really. It's interesting that I think we've just hit that point with our generation, you and I, guys in their late 30s, early 40s, where that's you want to reconnect. You've hit your midlife crisis. That's what it is. You want to reconnect with the stuff of your youth. That's what drove the comic speculation market. That's what drove the sports card collecting market. It's the same thing. I don't know what's next. Is what's next? Is it classic computer parts? Because I can tell you for sure those are skyrocketing in price.
Yeah, I've heard about that happening as well.
So
people want to run like Quake 1 on authentic hardware from the era or something.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah,
I mean, I get it because again, like that's my generation. I was very into computers in the 90s. I mean, I still am, but computers were life in the late 90s for me.
That's lost on me because and to each their own. But for me, for example, right? Like I like PlayStation 1 stuff. That's kind of what I've been into covering on my channel lately. And honestly, I don't give a shit if I'm playing it on like the old PS1 unit or a PlayStation 2 or a PS3. Honestly, I'm playing most of that stuff on a PS3, even if it's on disc, just because the disc, the laser in the PS3 will read anything, right?
Right. But if you toast in there, it'll read it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know, when you make a lot of people don't realize this, but but when you toast, when you actually make toast now, the pattern that gets burned into it by most toasters, it's actually Doom.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
because Doom's on
They
everything
got Doom
now.
all over the place, man. I went to
Yeah.
go adjust the temperature in my home, and it was a couple of degrees too hot. So I actually had to play through E1M1, and
Mm-hmm.
then it allowed me to adjust the temp down 2 degrees.
Yep.
hmm And
Yep.
my
Sorry.
house alarm, when you open a door while the house is armed, there's a lot of homes they have just like a constant ringing, but mine goes.
See, and I think it's funny because I remember you telling me you played Doom on the Jaguar. Jaguar was
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you don't even know what the
Adobe.
music sounds like.
I do too.
Fake nostalgia, man.
Yeah. No, actually, the since you brought that up, yeah, I did play Doom for the first time on the Jaguar, so I didn't hear the music for a while until what version did I get that had the music finally? Because I moved from the Jaguar to the PlayStation, and then that
Which had
version didn't have the music that you know from the PC version. It had a really
right.
cool, like ambient, creepy, like just dripping with atmosphere kind of soundtrack going for it that was really cool, and I think it's still cool to this day.
Did you ever get was it the Saturn version? I think the Saturn version had pretty, maybe I don't know.
I
Because
did not know.
by that time by '95 I had a Pentium PC in my house, so like I was all about that.
Sure.
I mean, I had consoles. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
What am I? What? But I'm not just a peasant here. You know.
Hey man, we had web TV in my house. I did not get on PC gaming until Doom 3 came out, actually.
Wow.
When Doom 3 came to PC, that was when my dad and I finally did it. We ditched our web TV. We got a desktop, and then I bought some extra RAM that I had to plug into my thing right away to get Doom to run at a respectable level.
I was just gonna say the most demanding game of its day.
Yeah.
The reason Nvidia came out with the 6800 series GPUs, that's the one that tipped you off.
Well, because I was just such a big fan, you know. I,
That's
I
fair. That's
love
fair.
Doom, and if you remember at
That
the
was that was
time,
that was. But I mean, I'm just saying, like hardware wise, man, Doom was a high bar of entry.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I literally went out and bought a 6800 GT just to play Doom 3, and that was God, it was like probably like a $200-300 video card, which at the time was super expensive for a GPU. These days
Yeah,
it's nothing, but
right. No, I mean, we spent some money on our PC, and the nice thing about it is it limped along in my home or with me where I moved to and everything. A few apartments later and all that for
wait, is
like
that the
10
one?
years.
Is that the PC you had when I first met you?
No, the PC I
Okay.
had when you first met me that got upgraded. Yeah, I this one bit the dust just before we moved out here. Yeah, no.
Uh,
Oh, actually, no. You know what? I got a new PC around the time Age of Conan came out.
so like 2008 or
That,
so. Yeah.
yeah, that was the one that. But I kept the old one around, and I had two for a little while. From the old one that I bought for Doom 3, that one I kept, I think, right up until we moved out here, and then I
Wow.
finally said goodbye to it because it was just so, it was kind of useless. I kept it around for music and fucking around and stuff. But
Sure.
yeah, but anyway, I like that it lasted so long, because I
Yeah, I
was
was gonna.
never one. Sorry to interrupt you. I was just gonna say I've never been one to keep up with like graphics cards or trying to make sure that my thing was high end. Like I literally bought that machine for like one game and I didn't play other shit on it. I've always been a console kid at heart.
Yeah, but I mean, like you picked it. You dude, 2004. Like if you got your PC in 2004 when Doom 3 came out, like
hmm
you picked the year. Like a lot of people look at like 1998 as like the like those like benchmark years for PC gaming. Like 98's one of them because you had Unreal, the original Half-Life,
hmm
and then like 2004 when Doom 3 came out, you had Doom 3 in August, like because I remember it came out in summertime, and then that fall you had Half-Life 2 hit.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like
which I didn't play.
I lived Half-Life 2. Like I that was because it was the first game that Steam was tied to.
Sure.
It didn't launch because Steam came out before and you had Counter-Strike and stuff on there. But
hmm
But Half-Life 2 came out, and you had to have Steam. So I installed Steam, preloaded Half-Life 2, all the files, and waited for it to unlock. I lived that game for a week after work. I'd come home and I would play Half-Life 2 from like 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock. I would savor every moment. I played through it on the absolute hardest difficulty. Anyway, waxing nostalgic about old games. We are not even talking about stuff in our show notes. We should cover some stuff here. So Bloodstained set us off on the retro stuff. Great game.
Really
I played through a little bit in Steam. I got the download code now for my Xbox One, so I gotta get it on there and check that out. I want to talk really quick about Street Fighter Collection.
Yeah, I want to hear you talk about it.
Yeah, so Street Fighter Collection, Street Fighter Anniversary Collection, 30th. Oh my God, I'm so old. 30th anniversary of Street Fighter this year. And here's what's funny. Going through my game shelf, I have the Street Fighter 15th anniversary collection for the Xbox One.
Yeah,
on the shelf next to it because that's backwards compatible with
when that
360.
came out.
Isn't that great? So
Yeah,
I got that,
that's,
and then I have the I think they did something with the 20th anniversary collection.
Yeah, they did.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. So
Feels bad, man. Feels bad.
I know. Oh God, I'm like, I'm so old. It sucks. But anyway, anniversary Street Fighter Anniversary Collection, 30th anniversary. It's out on Switch. It's out on Xbox One. It's out on PS4. Probably soon PC. I don't know. I didn't even looked. But man, I'll tell you what, it's $30. $30 gets you every Street Fighter game ever made. The arcade versions, not the console releases. But well worth it. I bought it
From Street Fighter 1, 2, and 3, right? There's
Street Fighter 1 to Third Strike, correct. But
Yeah.
if you pre-ordered it, you got a download code for Street Fighter 4 Ultra.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of awesome.
Yep.
Even on Switch?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, if
That's
you yeah.
Hey, man,
Sorry.
that's kind of huge to know that Street Fighter 4 is on Switch. I wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah, breaking news. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
No, you get the download code for Xbox because it's backwards compatible on Xbox One.
That makes
and
sense.
And you get the code, I believe, for the native PlayStation 4 version of Ultra that came out.
Okay, yep.
So the one that was really bad when it came out, but apparently they've since patched all the issues.
Yeah, I guess.
So, but man, well worth the price of entry because it's not like I haven't played these games. Like I literally, I still have my Saturn hooked up to like my primary gaming setup. So I spend plenty of time with the Alpha series, and then you also have the Capcom Classics collections, and I have that. So I'm totally able to revisit arcade perfect Street Fighter anytime I want to.
Yeah.
But it is cool having it on a modern system, having every game there. And a lot of people God, it sounds so cliche, like a lot of people, but these are the arcade versions, right? So a lot of people have memories of the PlayStation version of Alpha 3 that had like a bunch of extra characters in it,
sure.
like T-Hawk and all that stuff. They are not in this because these are the arcade versions.
Okay.
Right? So any additional characters that came on the consoles, the World Tour modes, all of that, it's not there. These are purely arcade, and they're perfect. The emulation's pretty damn good. I must say
that's critical. So yeah, good.
Yeah. And I can't say because I bought an arcade stick to go with the Hori A-Trap 4 Kai, whatever it is.
For Xbox.
For Xbox One, and it works on 360 as well, which is nice.
Sweet.
But no, it's a great collection. It's a great way to be able to play the original Street Fighter 3. New Generation, which I really enjoyed because I worked in 1998 when that game came out. I worked in a video game arcade, and we had a Street Fighter 3 New Generation machine, and that's and I would always before in the morning when I open up the arcade because you work in an arcade, but it's in a mall, so you have to open at 10 o'clock with all the other stores or 9 o'clock or whatever it was,
Yeah.
But it's a video game arcade. You're not going to be doing anything until the kids get out of school.
Right.
So I'd like before I had to open the place up, I would get there early and I would play a good half hour of Street Fighter 3. It was pretty fantastic. So, but I have the collection because they did Street Fighter 3 and Second Impact on the Dreamcast in a package called Double Impact, and forever that was the only way outside of MAME to be able to play the original Street Fighter 3 games. So to be able to have those on a modern console is pretty fantastic. So,
Yeah, that is cool. I like that. I like that it's got something that you remember playing at, an old job too. That's how I know this isn't Street Fighter talk here, but just real quick, I have a really big soft spot for Strikers 1945 3. And whatever. I've heard arguments that that's not the best one. Well, I don't care. Listen, that was the one that I played on my lunch break.
Those arguments probably
every day.
probably came from me, so I wouldn't sweat it too much.
Sure. But I used to play that on my lunch break when I worked at a mall. Also, I'd go in there like every day and play that for a good chunk of time. Actually, right up until the arcade closed and they broke my heart. Yeah, memories. I used to go to that same
close
arcade
for the night or close for good?
Like for good. Like
just kidding.
Like most arcades.
Like Andrew, it's 9:00. We have to close. Like, oh, my heart's breaking.
Right.
I'll see you in the morning.
One more round, please. Please, sir. One more round.
Oh man, I got tons of arcade memories because we're both of the same generation. We're like the arcade, the second renaissance of the arcade. You know,
so good.
Walking in and like that. I mean, that's why I own a Neo Geo. That's why dude, I own 2 Neo Geos now. I'm that stupid.
No.
Hell no. What are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do? Stare at it?
Come on. Probably.
You'll get just as much enjoyment out of playing emulation, I assure you.
Yeah.
But I got like there's a lot of stupid games. Like there's a game. It's a shooter from oh god, who made it? Who's the company that made Raiden? Raiden. Them. Whoever it is, I forget.
Psycho? No.
Psycho. No, it wasn't Psycho. Anyway, those people they made a nothing shmup called Viper Phase 1 that never got playtime in the arcade that was near me in my hometown growing up. But I loved it. I would walk in and I would just play because I don't know, it's something about that game just clicked with me. So yeah, I got nostalgia for stupid stuff.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, right on. So let's keep going. Onrush beta.
Okay.
So this was interesting. I discovered Onrush through Twitter, and I specifically remember you had liked one of their tweets showing gameplay footage.
Yes.
And I watched it, and I was like, "Oh man, that looks awesome!" And then I started reading into it. It's like, "Oh, it's from the studio who did MotorStorm, and what was that racing game they did on the PS4, Drive Club."
Yes.
And these guys, I'm like, "Oh, okay, well that's a hell of a pedigree. Like, I'll check this out." Then I started following them on Twitter and got really excited. And then they announced they were, and I was like, "All right, well, I'm going to pre-order this game. It looks pretty epic." And then the beta came out. And I was like all excited. I downloaded it. I'm like, got home from work. I'm like, oh, I can't. Yeah, I'm gonna check this out. So excited. And I played it. I played the hell out of it the weekend. It's basically Overwatch meets Burnout. So it's not about getting first place. It's not about getting to a finish line. It's about working with your teammates to get the most points and using class-based characters, or in this case, vehicles. Depending on the environment and also the loadout of the rest of your team.
Yeah.
Now, again, the beta was online only. It was meant to stress test the servers, but it was everybody's first chance to kind of check out gameplay. And I played it, and I got to the end of the weekend, and no, it didn't work anymore, and I canceled my pre-order on Monday. Because I thought I was like I had a lot of fun with that beta.
Yeah.
But I didn't have $60 worth of fun with that beta because it's going to be online only. It's kind of a weird racing game. So, I mean, the beta ultimately is what convinced me to cancel my pre-order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I kind of feel the same way. I was excited about it just from seeing the footage, probably the same stuff that you saw. And I didn't know that it wasn't a racing game until I played that beta and kind of discovered that it was everything you just said it was. And it's like, wow, this is not, it's kind of not what I was expecting. I see what they're trying to do here. It's, it's really pretty. It runs smooth. It's nice and fast. I like that. But, it's kind of not what I was looking for. I want the racing game, I want the thing where you're, placing first through 12th based on your position in the field and all that stuff.
Right. I wanted. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I wanted MotorStorm.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted.
Yeah, Basically, yeah, that's kind of what I was looking
I
for too.
wanted like violent Forza Horizon 3. That's what I wanted.
Yes. And I don't think we can't be the only people that went in kind of thinking that's what we were going to get too, because to be fair, any footage you watch, you're going to see like the big truck racing next to the stock car racing next to the motorcycle. And it's like, oh, that's MotorStorm right there. Like, oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Pick your thing and go for it. Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. But no, it's really pretty different. And it's fun. I like the beta too, but I just like I'm not that kind of gamer where online, league kind of play stuff. Like I got my people that I'm going to get together with on the regular. Like if I can consistently play a game with the same group of people and like kind of have a team thing going, like that's pretty rare. The only game I've done that with in recent memory on a regular basis is PUBG on the Xbox. And I played a lot of PUBG. Fucking love that game. But um, it's rare for me to have like a thing like that where we'll get online on the regular and people can expect to see me and stuff like that. Like I jump around so much, and I also I think as I get older, I've got more of a resistance to getting too involved with games that are really dependent on being online. Obviously I mentioned PUBG a minute ago, and that game is like only online. And I'll be really sad when they shut that thing down and I don't get to play it anymore, whenever that happens. But I don't want my whole game collection to be that kind of game, right? Like there's a part of me that really likes revisiting stuff. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like having these games like Dark Souls, for example, even when the servers inevitably shut down for that, I can still play that by myself. I can still summon NPC characters to help me out on some of those boss fights and stuff. I can still see those locations and hear that music and have that experience. So yeah, I guess those two things kind of working against Onrush, and I'm like you, I was just like, nah, I think I'm good. The beta was neat, but not for me.
It's interesting. You touched on something that, yeah, it kind of going back to nostalgia, like we were talking about earlier. It's like that was kind of the driving force behind the whole World of Warcraft vanilla nonsense.
Yeah,
Was you
yeah,
had a game that had been around so long that people were having nostalgia for the old days, like
yes,
legitimately,
yeah.
and they had no way to go back and relive that. You
Yeah,
know?
unless you were on like some, pirate server or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing, not to get too like, metaphysical on a podcast about video game nonsense. But I mean, that's a fundamental human thing. We're all very nostalgic at some point or another in our lives.
Yeah.
And for our generation, video games are a huge part of our growth, like what we've been through in our lives. We have memories
Yeah.
attached to video games at different times of our lives, and so a lot of like people will listen to an album, or they'll watch a movie or read a book or read a comic or something like that. And it's like, and video games are that, and we're gonna we're getting to that point with like to like what you said. You're not gonna be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Some of those games, like Fortnite is really huge right now, and I think that's cool. I sometimes get a little annoyed with how popular that game is, and I can't explain why. But I do think that it's really cool that so many people are excited about a video game, right? And like there are people like getting way into it, and like, yeah, I know what those people are feeling because I've felt that about other games, and I think it's really great. But there's a part of me that's sad for them because one day Epic is going to move on and close that game down, and they're going to have to resort to, I guess, hoping that YouTube is still a thing and that they can watch those videos, of people playing Fortnite and stuff, and like kind of, oh, I remember when I used to get to do that.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
I
That would
don't
be
know what got
funny.
me started on all that. I guess Onrush being, so heavily online kind of got me
Well,
thinking.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there will come a day where these games don't work anymore. Period.
Yeah.
This will be something to talk about in a future episode, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so really quick, I mean, we're running a little bit long. I don't know, running long. First episode, who knows? Is this long? But yeah, let's move through some stuff here.
Sure.
So, we got E3 coming up next week.
Yeah.
We kind of, I mean, is there any surprises? I haven't even looked. Like, is there any? We're not expecting anything, right? We know
Uh,
this is going to kind of be the last year of the current gen, such as it
no,
is,
I
right?
don't. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No way.
That's
No,
fair.
I think Xbox. They just had the X One X come out. Not even that long ago, in
No,
November.
November, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't even been a year yet. I don't think they'll have another one ready to show next year either. I
Oh,
think it'll
I'm
be
talking about
2020.
more for Sony.
Oh, I think Sony's going to wait till 2020 as well. They had their comment
Yeah.
about how they plan on supporting the PS4 and at least to 2021.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I don't know. You don't really pay attention to this side of things, but on the computer side of the computer hardware, because I mean, all these
mhm.
consoles they all share the same hardware. They're all running on AMD Bulldozer Core APUs, right? And AMD they're done with that architecture. They're onto their Zen architecture with their Ryzen CPUs, and they the was it? Oh man, I forget the name of the expo. It was in Taipei. Um, they just they did all their announcements and stuff like that. And there's nothing currently publicly in the roadmap that would make for a good chip for them to use.
Mhm.
So for these replacement systems, because you're going to need a chip that's low power, low heat, has a good onboard video solution for them, I don't think we just don't have that yet.
Okay. So you're of the mind that, maybe sooner than we think.
It might be sooner. No, I think it'll be 2020, like you're saying.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was gonna then follow that up with another question, but okay, yeah. So we're on the same page then.
No,
Because
no,
you
we are
said
on the same page. Yeah,
okay. Because yeah, I think 2019. I don't know that I even expect them to announce consoles in 2019, even if they are going to come out in like 2020. Like I think it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to announce it in June of 2020 and then launch it in
right.
holiday that year or something.
Well, and we're still seeing games that are pushing like on the PS4 Pro. I mean,
Yeah,
because the original Xbox One hardware that thing was DOA like just
yeah,
specification wise it doesn't hold a candle to even the original PS4.
right.
But with the One X and then the Pro, we're still seeing games that are learning how to take advantage of that hardware and pushing it. You know,
Hmm.
so I think those systems still have plenty of life in them, and I think with with the comfortable lead that Sony has right now, why would they be in a hurry?
Right.
Why in the hell would they be in a hurry? Uh, and then Microsoft again, One X just came out in November.
Hmm.
They are not in a hurry either. If they release a new Xbox system in the next 2 years, man, we are looking at like a Saturn Dreamcast, or we're looking at a 32X Saturn situation all
Yeah,
over again,
yeah.
and
And
that's
I
just going
think
to
they gotta.
further screw them over.
Yeah, they have to be really careful how they navigate that stuff too, because it's a tricky spot, and they want to honor the people who bought the OG Xbox One. I understand that. Everything they're saying is like, oh, it's going to be one ecosystem, right? You're going to not get left behind when the new stuff comes out. I don't know how long they can realistically expect to continue supporting the OG Xbox owners. But I just think you don't put out a $500 console and then hell, maybe you do 2 years later, you put out another one, but I wouldn't expect it. And I would think from their position that they're in, the X1X is more, um, uh, it puts them in a position rather to ride it out a little bit longer because it's a really powerful system. They're on top of the food chain right now in terms of power. So they don't have to put something out until Sony says blink. And I don't
Right.
think, like you said, Sony's so far in the lead right now. Plus, I think if you look at their first party releases that we know about that aren't out yet, uh, that seems to me like reason to continue riding those out. You got Days Gone, which they just announced today is coming out in February 2019. That's a big one for them. Last of Us 2, that's not coming out until 2019 at the earliest. And I imagine they want to give Days Gone some breathing room. So I'm going to assume Last of Us 2 would be summer or fall 2019.
Yep.
And then, so yeah, that sounds to me like 2020 for PS5, which I'm comfortable with, man. Like as a owner of a Pro and an X1X, like, hey, man, I'm good on waiting for a while before I get any more goddamn consoles. I feel like this generation is it's weird because it's been going since 2014, right? But so we're 4 years in, but it doesn't feel like it's been that long, you know?
Yeah, because I have to kind of stop and remember that every once in a while is because I'm a late adopter on this. We didn't get a PS4 until 2016.
Sure.
And then I didn't get it. I bought an X. I didn't get it. I didn't take a plunge on the Xbox until the One X came out.
Yeah.
And then the Switch, I think we got that. I wonder, was the Switch? Yeah, I think the Switch we got in late 2016. So
Didn't no, I
didn't it
think the
come out?
Switch came out 2017. It
Was
came
it
out
okay?
that was early. It was March, I
That's
think,
what it was. Yeah, yeah.
2017.
We
Because I
were a
got one
few
at launch. I remember.
right, and we were. Oh, you know what it was? You know what it was? We bought the Switch in October of 2017 because I
Okay.
specifically remember my wife and I having the conversation of like she really wanted to get it because of I forget what game. Oh, Xenoblade.
Yep.
And I told her I was like, well, if you buy it right now, it's in stores. If you wait till closer to Christmas, you might have to hunt for one.
Hmm.
So we went ahead and just bought it at the time, which
Yeah.
was a smarter play.
Yeah, definitely. Because they were really hard to get for a little while.
Yeah, for no discernible reason. But
Yeah.
I digress.
I like mine though. I do. And as far as that thing goes, like I know Nintendo is notorious for putting out, revisions of their handhelds and stuff, and I expect that with the Switch, but
Well, they're gonna have
I,
to soon.
why is
Have we
that?
not? Have we not had this conversation?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh well, okay. So the Nvidia Shield tablet and TV, right? So
Okay.
Nvidia has these Android devices called Shield. So that's their product line. They've made a handheld, they've made a tablet, and they've made a Shield TV. I own the tablet and the TV. It's
Okay.
based on the Nvidia Tegra X1 chipset,
Okay.
and it's ARM based. It's very powerful. It happens to be exactly what I mean. I'm not even kidding. It is exactly what Nintendo used for the Switch.
Okay.
Same hardware. Now, it was manufactured at a 20 nanometer process, like architecture. And it was kind of an odd size. Not a lot of companies stuck at the 20 nanometer for very long. Most of them moved on to 18, and now, God, I think we're down to 7 nanometer now for certain things. They moved to those. They moved to smaller processes really quickly because 20 was really kind of hard to hit, and there was efficiencies in going even smaller.
Okay.
So the only two companies that were really doing 20 nanometer were NVIDIA for Tegra and Apple for the chipset in whatever their previous iPhone before the one that's out there now. Not the X and then whatever else there is. They were doing a 20 nanometer chipset. Now, Apple said, hey, we're done. We're retiring this hardware. We're not doing 20 nanometer anymore. Everybody else had moved away from it. So NVIDIA was the only company that was really paying this fabrication plant. And keep in mind, there's only a handful of chip fabrication plants on the planet, right?
Okay.
So if they're set up for 20 nanometer, I mean, it's like any factory. It's like you have to have a certain amount of orders to make it worthwhile for the factory to do it, right?
Okay.
NVIDIA being the only one wanting to run a 20 nanometer process was no longer efficient. So NVIDIA said, all right, we'll go back to the drawing board. We'll do a 16 nanometer, like with the rest of the industry. Everybody went to 16. We'll do a 16 nanometer revision of the Tegra chipset, and they have. They actually just talked about it at the thing in Taipei. Now, what does this mean? The current Switch, as it is based on the 20 nanometer process. If
Right.
NVIDIA is no longer making 20 nanometer chips,
Right. Right.
Nintendo's going to have to start using their 16 nanometer chips. Now, they could keep the exact same form factor and everything and just do a motherboard revision. Because what you're going to get by going to a smaller chip, smaller die size, you're going to get less heat being generated. Well, actually, I should go in the right order. You're going to get less energy being used to get the same performance, right? And then in turn, because of that, you're going to get less heat being generated, right?
Okay.
And since you're using less energy, you're going to get better battery life.
Right.
Now,
Which is a big deal on the
it's
Switch.
a huge deal, right? Yeah. So they could use this as an opportunity to build a smaller Switch, or they could just do a stealth upgrade, just upgrade the guts and be like, it's the new improved version with better battery life, and it's not nearly as hot in your hands, and that's fine too.
Sure.
But
I don't think
yeah,
mine gets hot, by the way. But
change is a coming for the
yeah,
Switch, whether anybody realizes it or not.
sure. Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I just don't want it to be a situation where it's like you don't have the Switch 2.0, so you can't play this game that we have coming out. You know what I mean? Like ride it
Oh
for a little
yeah,
while. That's
I don't think it'll come to that.
no,
I
I
think
don't
that
either.
I think the 3D stick taught them a valuable lesson about fragmenting your market.
I think when they have a successful system, they are pretty loyal to the customer anyway. Like, and granted, look at how they stuck by the Wii U. I mean, Wii U
Yeah,
did not do so great. Well, what, 11 million or something like that.
they sold less than the Sega Saturn.
Yeah.
I'm very proud. I brought the Sega Saturn up like 15 different times in this show. So
Hey, man, it's your baby.
it is my favorite game console of all time.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I take that back. God, people are quick to assume the Neo Geo is my favorite game console of all time. That is not true. Some of my favorite games of all time are in the Neo Geo, but the Neo Geo is not my favorite. But I would definitely say it is a hot three-way tie between the Saturn, the TurboGrafx, and the Genesis. And depending on what day of the week you catch me, it depends on which one's my favorite console.
Sure. Yeah, I know you. I know you like your Genesis stuff, so I was kind of like, it's odd that he hasn't said that yet, but then there it was.
Yep. So yeah, yeah.
Shit, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, revisions, hardware, all that stuff. E3 is what brought us here.
E3, yeah, E3. Yeah. So yeah, there'll be stuff. We'll talk about it. I don't know. There's that. I think this is what we're gonna call. This is a middle year for E3. We're gonna see some games. I don't know if we're gonna see any showstoppers, any real shocks.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine some. I think if anything, it'll be maybe on the Microsoft side of things, just because they've been the most tight-lipped so far.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Nintendo, you already know the main thing that they're going to be bringing is going to be Smash, and their Pokemon thing that they just announced. They'll be talking a lot about that. There might be some good third-party stuff for the Switch. I think. PS4,
I'd like to see. I'd like to see a new Mario Kart. I'd like to see him drop something about a new Mario Kart.
You know what? What about the rumor about the Star Fox Racing? Have you heard about that?
I have. I think that'd be weird. Yeah, I mean, seriously, if we get Star Fox Racing before we get a new F-Zero, that's just fucked.
Yeah. Hey, you know what though? I would like to have Nintendo Kart. Like, I know Mario Kart is the brand and everything, but
yeah,
some of my favorite things about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe are like having Link in there, having like the kids from Splatoon, even though I don't really play Splatoon. Like, I like the meshing of the franchises. Like, have Smash Karts or whatever you'd call it, like Smash Bros. Karts.
Sega did that with Sonic All-Stars Racing. Like, that was a great game. Very underrated.
Play Rio on a forklift.
Yeah. Or not driving an outrun cabinet, which was fantastic. But yeah, no, that was that. I would like to see that.
I don't know I don't think we'll get that at this. E3.
What kind of? No, I don't think so either. Although, speaking of which, we are going to see a new Sonic racing game. That'd be neat.
Yeah, we know about that already. That just a few days ago that they let the cat out of that bag. Is that right?
Yep. Everybody got excited because the R they showed was the old Sonic R logo from the Sega. Again, the Sega Saturn. Was the Sonic R logo from the Sega Saturn, which got everybody all tizzy, like, oh, I'm gonna do a Sonic R game. And everybody got really excited, and I was like, y'all motherfuckers play Sonic R when it came out? Because that game's terrible. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you people. Sonic R is hot trash to this day. I will fight you. So yeah,
listen, man, it's old. We want it.
Yeah, I know, right? I got a sealed copy. You want it?
You know what I want out of Sonic? Give me a new, I don't know how many letters I have to write. I don't know how many tweets I have to send. I don't know how many times I have to beg on my YouTube channel. Give me a sequel to Sonic the Fighters.
Yeah, right.
No. I'll tell you what they're bringing to E3 that we already know about is Valkyria Chronicles 4. That's coming out later this year. So
which you're gonna get very erect nipples over.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, I'll be looking up whatever kind of footage people are putting out for that. But as far as like what Sega's bringing, I don't know, man. They made me happy already by saying that they're doing the Shenmue
Oh, the HD
compilation.
1 and 2. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful. I don't know, man. Like Sega, it feels like they're just now starting to realize, like, oh yeah, people really like our old properties. We should do
Yeah.
something with those.
Hey, you fucks, maybe you should let somebody competent handle your mini consoles and you should start cranking those out like Nintendo, huh? You think?
Yeah. Well, they did just give us that lackluster emulation collection. But hey, man, Sonic Mania
Yeah.
Plus is coming out. Got that going for us. Yeah, I don't know, man. We should have an episode where we just try to talk about like dream sequels that we'd like to see. Because
That'd be cool. Yeah, we should do
I'm
that.
instantly like Golden Axe and Outrun. I want to see proper sequels to Golden Axe and Outrun.
I would be so ready for both of those.
I would love a new Splatterhouse game, like
Oh yeah.
in the brawler style. I think that would be fantastic.
I
I
liked
would
the
love
one
a
that we got so many years ago, whenever that
Yeah,
was.
I enjoyed it. It was a little
Yeah.
butt rock, but hey, what are you gonna do?
That shit's right up
Um,
my alley, man.
I know
The metal podcast,
the
dude.
metal pod. Yes, yes. Sorry. Man, now I'm daydreaming because you know
Yeah,
what?
I know, I know.
I would
Let me
love
reel it back.
I would
Let
love
me
a new
reel it
final. I
back.
would love a new Final Fight. Wouldn't you love a new Final Fight?
You know I'd love a new Final Fight.
I know you would, buddy.
I'd go to great lengths. I would climb Mount Hood here to go get a if a new Final Fight was waiting at the top of it for me. I would do it.
I can meet you up there, and then I'll fight you, I'll make sure I kill you, and I'll be like, guess it was the final fight after all. Ha! And put sunglasses on. Yeah.
You can steal the credit for the game existing then too.
Yep, exactly.
You're like it was me who ascended the mountain.
Right. I'm the final fight now. Yeah. What are we talking about? E3.
E3, yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
We'll
So
talk
we're
about it.
talking
We'll talk about it in the next show. We'll talk about
yeah.
2 weeks after everybody else. We'll talk about it.
After everybody else.
Now, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I don't know, man. Do we really want to talk about? I'm just going through our show notes. Like we have the thing in there, the Star Wars fan babies. I don't really want to get into that because they're not even fans, really. They're just pieces of shit. They're assholes. Just a group of assholes. People are terrible to each other. Why are people so terrible? Stop with this ruined childhood. You know what? You know what I did when I was younger and I didn't have the fucking internet and I went and watched a sequel that sucked. You know what I did when I watched Ghostbusters 2? I shrugged my shoulders and said, that wasn't that funny. And then I went on with my fucking life.
Shit.
I didn't send any death threats to anybody on the production team or any of the actors.
Right. Oh my God. Amen, dude. You preach it. Preach it hard.
Seriously, man. Like, yeah, Batman Forever fucking sucked, but no one told Val Kilmer he had to die.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh man, yeah, no kidding, man. There's so much like that was growing up, man. You would get something that you'd like, you'd be excited about it, and then, it would either be great or it fucking wasn't. And you just
life went on.
Yeah, man. You just look forward to the next thing or keep enjoying the other things you do enjoy. Like you have a conversation.
Dude, when the Star Wars prequels came out, when Episode 1 came out,
yeah,
I went to go watch in the theaters like everybody else.
Yeah.
1998. And it's like, you were very excited and you left the theater and you were like, what? Was that a bad movie? And then you thought about it for a day and then you went and watched it again. And you were like, I think that was a really bad movie. What? Oh, that sucked.
I only needed one viewing to know it was a bad movie.
And then you went on with your day. You went on with your life and you said, oh, that was a sucky movie. I'm not going to go watch it. And then that was it. End of story. And then you buy the DVD when it comes out and you watch it again and you go, oh my God, it's terrible. Why am I still buying this?
You got a problem.
Yeah.
I don't understand it at all. Like, you've got so much other great shit out there. Just like fucking find something else that's cool. There's like a million other fucking rad things coming out every day. When I was a kid, if something sucked, there was always like, whatever, I'm still into like, the Ghostbusters 2 is a great example that you gave, right? Like, whatever, man, I'm still digging Ninja Turtles or I'm still digging Nintendo or like all the other shit. And now thinking about what I had back then, I had a lot of options for moving on with my life back then. You've got like exponentially more, options now. Like, there's so much shit coming out now that you can't keep up with all of it. Like, move the fuck on. get offline. Don't be a prick. I don't understand, man. I like the whole online thing just bums me out. I guess it's a discussion
Well,
for another
so
episode,
it
but
is, and this is why I go back to it. These aren't fans. People are like, "Oh, Star Wars fans are toxic." You know what? Fuck that. They're not Star Wars fans. They're
yeah,
just pieces of shit. That's
yeah,
what they are.
I agree
They're
with
they're
that.
they're
I
just
know.
they're just
I,
garbage. They're garbage humans. They're garbage humans that have nothing to offer the fucking planet. So they just sit behind a fucking keyboard and bring out their just gross, toxic, fucking false masculinity, and feel like they gotta berate somebody for oh, I'm sorry, yeah, being born a woman. Oh, I'm female. Oh, what an atrocity. Come on.
you're
That's
the
why, like,
reason my movie was bad. You know.
stop calling them fans. That's the only thing I
Yeah.
kind of wish people would stop doing. Stop calling them fans. They're not fans. They're
Yeah,
pieces of
no, that's a
shit.
really excellent point because I know fans of Star Wars, like legitimate people who, really love the movies and would even argue that like there were enough good things about the ones around the year 2000, those three that came
Yeah, the
out.
prequels. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the prequels, sorry. There were I know enough people who would say like, yeah, those were not great, but like they weren't, those are fans. Those are people who like stuck with it, even after all those movies. And I saw each one of those in the theater too, and I apparently didn't learn my lesson.
None of us did. It's okay. We were innocent. Like, dude, The Matrix 2 and 3.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was a bummer. I love The Matrix, and I convinced myself that 2 and 3 weren't bad, but I knew something was off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't writing hate mail to Carrie Ann. What's her name? Uh,
Moss.
yeah, Carrie Ann
It's
Moss.
Moss, yeah.
Thank you. That's it, right?
I think that's it. I know she was in Daredevil too.
Yeah,
Or Jessica Jones. One of the. You know what? She's in Marvel stuff now. She's good.
yeah,
She's doing fine
yeah,
financially.
yeah.
Um but yeah, no, that's I just stop calling them fans. They're not fans. Like, the headline shouldn't read like, Star Wars fans chase what's her name? Paid, or what's her name? Ah,
Kelly Tran or something like that.
yeah, chase her off Instagram. It's
Yeah,
like, what it
yeah,
should say is misogynistic pieces of shit chase actress off of Instagram. Like, that's
yeah.
what it should say.
Sometimes, man, I think like maybe we'd all just be better off if the internet went away.
I cracked this joke to a friend of mine. I was like, you know what? In a lot of ways, I wish it could just be 1998 forever. That's what
Yeah,
I wish,
yeah.
because,
Oh,
like,
dude.
the internet was a thing. It was what you did instead of real life.
Yeah, yeah,
It wasn't an all consuming of your life. You know, a
yeah. There
computer
was
was
no way
something
to.
that sat. A computer was in your house. It sat in a room. It had its own spot. You know, you checked
Yeah,
your email. Your email didn't constantly beckon you to pick up a fucking device and stare at it for hours.
I know. Yeah, it was so much more normal, right? Like you had access to information, great, powerful information, right? Things like that would just improve the quality of your life, or things that would help you like get an education or something like that, right? Like all kinds of great shit out there available on the net. But it came without what you have now, all this shit where like, oh, your ex is stalking you on Facebook or whatever, and like, you've are getting this daily dose of like shitty news about like what your embarrassing government has done now, and it's just like constant everyday like drip feed of like shit that is shaving years off your life. And then like you can't look at a comments section anywhere because it's full of assholes everywhere you go. Like you go to a YouTube video and like you go to my channel, there's nobody commenting, so it's great. But the few times I do have comments, it's nice because people are genuine and they're not assholes. But that's because nobody knows about my channel yet, right? Like
Right,
if you
right.
go to a big channel where they've got a lot of comments, well then it's almost entirely assholes because the good people have been chased away and they're just like, I'm not gonna get involved with this shit, and because they have some fucking sense in their head. I don't know, man.
Well, this
Yeah,
this is
like,
this is this is the one thing I'll say about the Kelly Tran thing, right? Yesterday, I saw on Twitter Mark Hamill posted a picture of him giving her a hug.
yeah,
I was at a premiere, and he was just like, she. I don't see what the problem is. She's great, or something like that, something to that effect.
yeah,
You know, just being like, listen, you people want to hide behind being fans. I'm Luke Skywalker, and I'm telling you, back off.
Yeah, no
The
shit.
first fucking reply was this dude saying, "But
Uh,
Luke, she ruined the movie."
uh, God.
I'm
Uh,
just like,
it's just
motherfucker.
exhausting, man. Like, yeah, fuck that. I deleted my Facebook account earlier
Did you
this
really?
year.
Good.
Yeah, I
Good
did.
for you. Good for
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Yeah, and like at times I regret it because there are people who the only way that I had to talk to them was Facebook,
They'll
and it
find other
was
ways.
yeah, that's kind of what I said. You know, I was like, hey, here's my I did have some people reach out and get my phone number and stuff, and there are other. I'm still on Twitter, unfortunately. I don't know if I can quit Twitter.
Well, Twitter, you can choose your engagement, though. You know,
Yeah, but it's still hard. Like
it is.
I went through a thing. Sorry, I don't know if we have time for this or whatever.
We have time. Whatever.
Okay, cool. Well, I went through a thing with Twitter since I'll just say it since fucking Trump got elected, where a lot of the people that I followed, it was just nonstop Trump in my feed, and it was people outraged about this and that, and I'm fully there with them, right? Like I'm no fan of his whatsoever, but I can't handle
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
that. Like
I get it.
I'm following like video game people, right? And like
Right.
musicians and stuff like that. Like, granted, I did follow a lot of journalists and news people because the election coming up to that, I wanted to know about everything I could get my hands on for all that stuff. I was hoping my chosen candidate was going to win in the primaries and stuff, and then there was stuff that held over from that I was still interested in. And well, anyway, after the election, I did this purge of my Twitter feed where I got rid of like a lot of the news stuff just because it was nonstop Trump. I couldn't handle this. Okay, out. Now it's just video game people, just music, just like the things I enjoy. And it still just permeates my feed. It's still like just people are pissed, people are bummed. And, they're just retweeting stuff like because they didn't purge their feeds and they're still seeing all this shit. And so they're just retweeting what they're seeing, they're commenting on it. But I'm like getting it secondhand and it's still coming at me. And I'm like, I like following the I like following these things because I want to know what people are playing, what they're doing, what they're thinking about this, and hey, there's a new Avengers movie that came out. I want to know what people are saying about it because I like these people's opinions on things, and but you got to also take all that other shit with that stuff, and it's just like, man, I think all the time about just cutting off Twitter, but I feel like I would just be totally in the dark if I did that because I only go to like a few places on the internet. You know what I mean? Like I've got
Oh
like
yeah. Yeah.
my handful of places that I'll go, and that's like where I get a lot of, if I find out about like, oh, hey, the highway over here has had an accident, so I know not to go that way because the local news is tweeting about it. So great, I just it's hard. It's a weird time. I definitely am feeling your comment earlier about I wish it could be 1998 forever. Hearing you talk about that is like sinking into a hot bath for me. I could just exist in that thought, just be in that space. Oh my God, what a wonderful time to have been alive and to be like a young adult.
Well, everything was weird and new, and like
Yeah.
the Dreamcast was coming, and like
Yeah. Oh man, life was wonderful. It was cool. We were all worried that our computers were going to crash in 2 years, but
yeah, yeah. 9/11 hadn't happened yet. There was a
yeah,
Clinton in the White House.
sure. Yeah,
The
man.
economy was exploding
Dude, Matrix
in a
movie
good
came
way.
out. Yeah, yeah. I remember the electronica explosion that came over here from the UK and
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
rocked my world at the time. Like
1997 gave us The Prodigy. It
yes,
gave us Hanson.
uh,
Uh,
the Chemical Brothers. Gave us the Chemical Brothers. I don't know if it was '97, but Daft Punk was all around that era too,
yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah, there's a lot of good shit about being back.
There's the name of the episode, 1998 Forever. That's the name of the
Yes,
episode.
totally.
And on that note, I think we should wrap this up. We've chatted long enough.
Yeah,
See,
yeah. I think we've
see, man, we have show notes, but we don't even need them because we're just so fun and entertaining, and that's why everybody should listen to us and subscribe to the show at baremetalgaming.com, BARE metalgaming.com. Now I know we talk about social media and stuff. You feel free to follow me, Tim. You can find me at Tim Wilsey if you want to keep up with me making jokes and posting artwork from the various comic books stuff that I do. Yeah, and Instagram as well. If anybody really cares. And
I care.
I know you care, buddy. I know you do. I owe your wife a set of prints of my newest little animal things, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's digging them.
Oh, awesome. She didn't tell me yet. Well, I wonder, when did she see that?
I don't know, today. I posted
Today? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because it's convention season, right? So I'm going to be tabling it at different comic book conventions, and I'm like thinking of merch to sell. So I came up with this idea for this thing, and so anyway, this is so super not podcast related.
Ah, that's okay. That's okay.
Anyway, yeah. So pimp your stuff.
Yeah, find me on YouTube under Uno Il Nino. There's a whole story about that dumb name. I'm sorry. All the good names are taken, I guess. I don't know. And I can only be so clever. I guess I was out of gas that day. Yeah, so that's UNOILLNINO. You can find me there. I do, like Tim mentioned way earlier in the show, I kind of focus on right now on stuff that I played forever ago.
Back in 1998, 90s. Man.
Yeah. But I do play some newer stuff now and then that you'll see pop up on the channel. But yeah, right now the focus is just kind of looking at old PlayStation stuff. I'm revisiting the PSM magazines from those days and playing games that were in those issues and stuff. So check that out. And honestly, I forget what my Twitter handle is. I think it might just be the same thing. It might just be Uno.
Yeah, it is. It's Uno Il Nino.
Yeah, okay. So if you want to holler at me on there, great. Improve my feed with like dog pics or something. I don't know.
All right, so that's all we got. Well, I guess until next time, thanks for listening to us, and take it easy.
Yeah, see ya.